AI is pretty much everywhere you look these days. It's in our phones, it's showing up at work, and it's totally changing the game. But there's a huge challenge hiding just beneath the surface that we really need to talk about: bias. So let's decode it together. So, what do we even mean when we say fairness in AI? Well, at its heart, it's all about equitable treatment. Just imagine an AI tool designed to help with hiring. A truly fair system would look at candidates based only on their skills and experience. It wouldn't care about their age, gender, or where they're from. The whole point is to level the playing field, to get rid of all those human biases that can sneak into really important decisions. And this is why it's so incredibly crucial. See, the thing about AI is it learns from us. It's trained on literally billions of documents, books, and articles that humans wrote. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. AI models are like a mirror. They reflect back not just our best ideas, but also our worst, most deeply rooted prejudices. If we're not super careful, we could end up just automating and supercharging unfairness on a global scale. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll nail down what fairness really means. Then we're going to dig into the three main places bias comes from. After that, we'll get into the solutions: how to fix the data, the algorithms, and the people part of the equation. It's all about finding the path to AI we can actually trust. Okay, so to fix this thing, we got to figure out where it's coming from, right? Let's kick things off with the most important question: where does AI bias actually start? It really boils down to three main buckets. The first, and honestly the biggest one, is the training data, the stuff the AI learns from. Second, it's the actual design of the algorithm. And third, it's us, the human factor, the people building, tweaking, and using these models. Let's break each of those down. Okay, the number one absolute biggest source of bias is the training data. I mean, think about it. These models are learning from historical texts that are full of outdated stereotypes. They're learning from data sets where some groups, like, say, men from Western countries, are way overrepresented. And of course, when you just scrape the whole internet for data, you're going to pull in all the toxic, nasty stuff too. You know the saying, garbage in, garbage out. But it's not just the data. The way the AI is built, its very architecture, can create bias or even make it worse. Because these models are designed to find the most common patterns, they can end up just doubling down on stereotypes. Like, if it sees the word doctor next to he way more often than she in its training data, it might start to assume that's the default. Even a totally neutral word can end up triggering a biased link if it was often seen near certain demographic terms. And finally, we kind of have to look in the mirror. When humans are brought in to review and grade AI responses to help fine-tune the model, their own unconscious biases can get baked right in. Even the way we as the users phrase our questions can send the AI down a biased rabbit hole. And this is a big one. If the teams building these tools all look and think the same, they're going to have massive cultural blind spots, completely missing biases that would be glaringly obvious to a more diverse group. Okay, so we've laid out the problems. But here's the good news. We can fix this. Let's pivot now to the solutions. And we're going to start at the very foundation, the data itself, before we even start training the model. Our first line of defense is all about cleaning up the data before it goes in. This means you have to actively go out and find diverse, representative data sets. It means you have to do some serious data audits to hunt for those hidden biases before they can cause any problems. We can also use some clever technical tricks, like resampling and reweighting to balance things out, or even just strip out sensitive information like race or gender completely. So, what on earth is resampling? Well, think of it like balancing a scale. With oversampling, you find the groups that are underrepresented in your data, and you computationally give them more weight. You boost their signal. With undersampling, you do the opposite. You take the overrepresented groups and you dial them back a bit. The goal for both is exactly the same: stop the AI from learning a warped version of reality. Now, fixing the data is a huge, huge step, but we don't have to stop there. We can actually build fairness right into the model's brain while it's being trained. But that kind of begs a question, doesn't it? We always hear about these models being a black box. So how in the world are we supposed to see inside the AI's brain to figure out why it's making the decisions it's making? Well, the answer is in these really powerful techniques we can use during training. We can use special algorithms that basically penalize the model whenever it makes a biased prediction. There's even this wild thing called adversarial training, where you literally train a second AI whose only job is to try and find bias in the first one. And to answer our question, we have a whole field called explainable AI, or XAI, that gives us tools to crack open that black box and see the logic so we can spot and fix unfair thinking. All right, so we've talked about the data and the algorithm, but the work doesn't stop when the model is built. The final critical piece of this whole puzzle is people. It's all about ongoing human responsibility. This is so important. Launching an AI is not the finish line. It's the starting gun. It needs constant monitoring and regular audits to catch biases that might pop up later. It needs diverse teams, and not just engineers, but ethicists, social scientists, people who can see those cultural blind spots. And for really high-stakes stuff, like in medicine or hiring, you absolutely need a human in the loop, a real person, to review and sign off on the AI's recommendations. And the cool thing is, developers aren't being asked to do this all on their own. The big tech companies have actually built some amazing toolkits designed specifically to help find and fix bias. You've got IBM's AI Fairness 360, Microsoft's FairLearn, Google's What If tool. There are some serious resources out there to help engineers build fairer AI. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it becomes really clear that building trustworthy AI isn't about finding one magic bullet. It's a continuous, all-hands-on-deck effort. So what's the big takeaway here? Building unbiased AI demands a holistic approach. It's a full-on commitment that covers the entire life of the system. You've got to start with clean, representative data. You have to build fairness into the algorithms. And you must have rigorous human oversight and continuous monitoring long after it's been released. Every single one of these steps is absolutely essential. And this stuff is complex, for sure. Building AI that is both fair and effective isn't just one skill. It requires a really deep understanding of the entire life cycle, from machine learning itself all the way to product design. The work is never really done, and the range of skills you need is just massive. Staying on top of this field really means you have to be a constant learner. For anyone who wants to go deeper on the strategies for building better, fairer AI products, the AI Product Management Playbook by Deepak Dio is a fantastic resource. If you subscribe on LinkedIn, you'll get the latest insights on things like agentic AI and digital transformation, and you'll get to connect with a whole network of leaders who are shaping the future of AI. It's a great next step for anyone who's serious about this work.